Stop being kind to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say something that might sound a little harsh. Stop being kind to everyone. Yeah, you heard me right. We've been taught since childhood that kindness is a virtue. Be nice, they said. Treat others how you want to be treated. And you know what? That's good advice to a point. But if you're kind to everyone, you risk losing yourself. Let's be real, some people don't deserve your kindness. Some people take your generosity and twist it. They see your kindness as weakness. They mistake your heart for a doormat. And if you let them, they will drain your energy, your time, and your spirit until there's nothing left. How many times have you said yes when you really wanted to say no? How often do you give your time to people who wouldn't lift a finger for you? And here's the worst part, when you're always kind to everyone, you forget to be kind to yourself. I'm not telling you to become cold-hearted. I'm telling you to become clear-minded. There is a difference. See, kindness without boundaries isn't kindness, it's self-betrayal. Think about it. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't be everything to everyone and still have something left for yourself. If you stretch yourself too thin, you break and nobody is coming to pick up the pieces. So here's what you need to do. Be selective with your kindness. Give your energy to people who value it. Invest your heart in relationships that nourish you, not drain you. Respect yourself enough to walk away from anyone who only shows up when they need something. Because the truth is, you teach people how to treat you. If you keep giving to those who take advantage of you, they will never stop. If you keep saying yes when you mean no, you're telling the world that your time, your feelings, and your well-being don't matter. But you matter. Your peace matters. Your energy matters. Your happiness matters. And let me tell you something, when you stop being kind to everyone, you create space for the right people to enter your life. People who appreciate your kindness, not exploit it. People who uplift you instead of weigh you down. So today, make a decision. Stop bending over backwards for people who wouldn't even lean forward for you. Stop apologizing for protecting your peace. And most importantly, stop being kind to everyone. Kindness without boundaries leads to burnout. Being kind is a powerful trait. It reflects empathy, compassion, and a willingness to support others. In a world where people are quick to tear each other down, kindness is a rare and valuable gift. But here's the truth. Kindness without boundaries is self-destruction in disguise. If you keep giving without limits, without pause, and without consideration for your own needs, you will eventually run out of energy. And when you reach that point, the very kindness you're known for can become a source of resentment. Why does this happen? Because not everyone's of equal value. Some will take it for granted, expecting you to always be available. And if you don't set clear boundaries, you give people permission to treat your time, energy, and generosity as if they are unlimited resources. But here's the reality. You are not an endless well. You cannot pour into others when your own cup is empty. Think about it. How often have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How many times have you felt drained because you prioritize someone else's needs above your own? It starts small, staying late to help a colleague who never returns the favor, constantly being the emotional support for friends who never check on you, or agreeing to things that pull you away from your goals. Over time, these small acts add up. They chip away at your energy until you're left feeling depleted and undervalued. Setting boundaries is not selfish, it's necessary. Boundaries communicate what you will and will not accept. They define the limits of your time, your emotional space, and your availability. And the truth is, people who genuinely respect and value you will not be offended by your boundaries, they will honor them. But those who only see you as a means to their own ends, they'll push back. And when they do, that's your signal to step back and protect your peace. Understand this, you cannot be everything to everyone. The world will not stop demanding your time just because you're overwhelmed. It is up to you to draw the line, to say, I cannot give any more today, to prioritize your well-being without guilt. Because if you burn yourself out trying to please everyone, who will be there to take care of you? It's not your job to fix everyone's problems. It's not your responsibility to be available 24/7. And it's not a sign of weakness to say, I need a break. In fact, it's a sign of strength. Strong people know their limits. They understand that in order to continue being kind and supportive, they must also care for themselves. So ask yourself, where do you need to set boundaries? Who in your life takes more than they give? What commitments are draining you instead of fulfilling you? And most importantly, are you willing to protect your energy, even if it means disappointing others? Not everyone deserves your kindness. Your kindness is one of the most valuable things you can offer to the world. It reflects your character, your heart, and your ability to care for others. But here's a hard truth you must accept. Not everyone deserves your kindness. That might sound harsh, but think about it. How many times have you gone out of your way to help someone only to be met with indifference or even disrespect? How often have you poured your energy into people who take and take, but never give anything back? If you're constantly extending kindness to those who abuse it, you're not being generous, you're being drained. There are people in this world who will see your kindness as a weakness. They will treat your generosity like a resource they are entitled to, not a gift you choose to give. These are the people who only show up when they need something, who never ask how you're doing, but always expect you to drop everything for them. And if you're not careful, these people will exhaust you emotionally, mentally, and even physically. When you start to value yourself, you realize that not everyone is worthy of your kindness. Some people will never appreciate what you do for them. Others will interpret your kindness as permission to continue taking advantage of you. And if you're always giving without receiving, you will burn out. Worse yet, you might lose faith in people altogether. It's not your job to rescue people who refuse to help themselves. It's not your responsibility to keep pouring love into people who only drain you in return. At some point, you must draw a line and say, I deserve better. Because you do. You deserve relationships where kindness is mutual. You deserve people who value and respect you not just for what you do, but for who you are. Setting boundaries around your kindness doesn't make you selfish, it makes you strong. It means you understand that your time and energy are precious. IT means you recognize that your kindness should be earned, not expected. And most importantly, it means you are choosing to protect your heart from those who would take advantage of it. Here's the thing, kindness should be reciprocal. It's a two-way street. Yes, there will be times when you give without expecting anything in return, but that should be your choice, not an obligation. When kindness becomes a one-sided transaction, it ceases to be an act of compassion and becomes an act of self-betrayal. You are not here to be used. Your heart is not a doormat. The most empowering thing you can do is to be selective with your kindness. That doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent, it means you become wise. There is nothing wrong with being kind to those who deserve it, but there is everything wrong with allowing people to exploit your goodness. Ask yourself, are the people I'm kind to also kind to me? Do they value my time, my energy, and my support? Or do they only show up when it benefits them? People respect those who value themselves. Here's a truth that can change your life. People will only respect you as much as you respect yourself. If you don't value your time, your energy, and your boundaries, no one else will. The way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. And when you consistently prioritize other people's needs over your own, you send a silent message that your needs don't matter. Think about it, how many times have you bent over backward to accommodate someone, hoping they would appreciate or respect you more? You said yes when you wanted to say no. You sacrificed your own comfort to avoid disappointing others. You allowed people to cross your boundaries because you didn't want to be seen as selfish or unkind. And what did it get you? Were you met with gratitude, or did people simply expect more? Here's the problem. When you are overly accommodating, you teach people to take you for granted. You show them that your time is flexible, your boundaries are negotiable, and your feelings are secondary. Staying in relationships, whether personal or professional, where you are undervalued only teaches others that you will accept being treated poorly. When you value yourself, you no longer feel the need to over-explain or seek validation. You understand that you are worthy of respect simply by being who you are, not because of what you do for others. And here's the irony, the more you respect yourself, the more others will want to be around you. Why? Because self-respect is magnetic. It shows that you have standards, confidence, and a clear sense of your worth. People are drawn to those who know their value. But let's be honest, respecting yourself isn't always easy. It requires courage. It means being willing to disappoint people who expect you to always be available. It means being okay with not being liked by everyone. And it means recognizing that your well-being is not up for negotiation. If you've been putting yourself last, now is the time to change. Start by asking yourself these questions. Where am I overextending myself? Who in my life takes without giving back? And here's the most important question. Am I treating myself the way I want others to treat me? Because if you don't respect yourself, no one else will. The moment you start valuing yourself is the moment everything changes. You'll attract people who uplift you, situations that align with your worth, and a life where you no longer settle for less. So stand tall, set your boundaries, own your worth. Saying no is a form of self-care. Most people are taught from a young age that saying yes is the polite thing to do. You're told to be agreeable, helpful, and accommodating, especially to the people you care about. And while kindness and generosity are admirable traits, there is a fine line between being supportive and being a people pleaser. Here's the truth. Every time you say yes to someone else, you say no to yourself. Think about how often you've agreed to things you didn't want to do. Maybe you accepted an invitation when you were exhausted. Maybe you stayed late at work to help a colleague while your own projects suffered. Maybe you've said yes to family or friends when what you really needed was time to recharge. On the surface, these acts of kindness may seem small, but over time, they take a toll. When you constantly prioritize the needs and desires of others, you end up neglecting your own. Your time, energy, and mental health are finite resources. And if you keep giving them away without boundaries, you will eventually burn out. Why is it so hard to say no? For many people, saying no triggers feelings of guilt. You worry that if you refuse, you'll disappoint others or appear unkind. You might fear that setting boundaries will damage your relationships or cause people to think less of you. But here's the reality: the people who genuinely care about you will respect your no. And the ones who don't respect it, those are the people who benefit the most from your lack of boundaries. Saying yes out of guilt or obligation doesn't make you a better person, it makes you a resentful one. When you agree to things that drain you, your kindness comes at the expense of your mental and emotional health. Over time, this resentment builds. You start feeling unappreciated, overwhelmed, and even trapped. And the worst part, the people you're bending over backward for often have no idea how much you're struggling because you never say no. Saying no empowers you. When you learn to say no, you take back control of your time and energy. You begin to prioritize your own goals instead of being pulled in every direction by other people's demands. Saying no allows you to focus on what truly matters to you: your dreams, your health, and your personal growth. Imagine how different your life would be if you only said yes to the things that align with your values and goals. Imagine how much more peaceful you would feel if you weren't constantly overextended. Saying no is a filter. It separates what is important from what is not. It creates space for you to invest in yourself and the people who genuinely matter. How to say no without guilt. Learning to say no is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. Here are a few ways to start. Be clear and direct. Be clear and direct. You don't owe anyone an elaborate explanation for your no. A simple "I can't commit to that right now" is enough. Being honest and straightforward shows that you value your time. Prioritize your own needs. Before saying yes, ask yourself, is this something I want to do? Does this align with my priorities? Will saying yes take away from something important to me? If the answer is no, agree. Set boundaries early. The earlier you set clear boundaries, the easier it is to maintain them. Let people know what you are and aren't available for. This prevents misunderstandings later. Understand you're not responsible for other people's reactions. If someone is upset because you said no, that's their issue, not yours. You are not responsible for managing other people's feelings. You are responsible for protecting your energy. Practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It means you value yourself enough to protect your time. Give yourself permission to prioritize your needs. The cost of always saying yes. When you're constantly available to everyone else, you become unavailable to yourself. Your goals get pushed aside. Your mental and emotional energy is depleted. And worst of all, you teach people that your time is invaluable, that you will always put their needs above your own. The truth is, you cannot be everything to everyone. If you try to please everyone, you will lose yourself in the process. Saying no isn't rejection, it's a declaration that your time and energy are valuable. And when you start valuing yourself, others will follow your lead. You deserve to put yourself first. At the end of the day, your life belongs to you. You have the right to protect your peace, your time, and your well-being. You are not obligated to meet everyone's expectations. You do not have to say yes to be loved, respected, or valued. Kindness is a choice, not an obligation. For most of us, kindness is something we were taught to value from an early age. We're told to be nice, to share, to help others when they're in need. And while these lessons are important, there's a part of the conversation that's often left out. Kindness is a choice, not an obligation. The truth is, you don't owe kindness to everyone. It's not something that should be given out indiscriminately, especially to people who don't value or respect you. There's a difference between being a kind person and allowing yourself to be used. And if you don't learn to draw that line, you will eventually find yourself exhausted, taken advantage of, and disrespected. Why you don't owe kindness to everyone. Many people feel pressured to be kind in every situation, no matter how they're treated. They fear that by setting boundaries or saying no, they will be viewed as cold, selfish, or uncaring. But here's the reality: kindness should never come at the expense of your self-respect. Not everyone who crosses your path deserves your time, energy, or compassion. Some people only show up when they need something. Others manipulate your kindness for their own benefit. And some will never appreciate your efforts, no matter how much you give. If you continue to be kind to people who repeatedly hurt, drain, or disrespect you, you aren't practicing kindness, you're allowing yourself to be exploited. There's nothing wrong with being a generous and compassionate person, but that generosity must be intentional. You get to choose where your kindness goes. You are not required to pour your energy into people who refuse to reciprocate it. You are not obligated to tolerate mistreatment just because you want to be seen as nice. Kindness is more meaningful when it's a choice. When you treat kindness as an obligation, it loses its value. It becomes something you give out of guilt, not out of sincerity. But when kindness is a conscious choice, it becomes far more powerful. It reflects your values, your integrity, and your ability to care deeply for those who matter. Choosing kindness doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to decide who is deserving of your heart. It means you are intentional about how you show up in the world. And most importantly, it means you respect yourself enough to give your kindness where it will be valued. Be kind to those who align with your values. One of the most empowering things you can do is reserve your kindness for those who align with your values, people who treat you with dignity, who respect your boundaries, and who appreciate the effort you put into the relationship. Ask yourself, does this person value my kindness? Do they treat me with the same care and consideration I offer them? Am I giving out of love or out of obligation? When you focus your kindness on people who truly matter, your relationships become richer and more fulfilling. You begin to surround yourself with people who uplift you rather than drain you. And in doing so, you create an environment where kindness flows naturally because it's mutual, not one-sided. It's okay to withhold kindness. There will be times when the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to withhold your kindness. This doesn't mean being cruel or vindictive. It means recognizing when someone is not deserving of your energy. It's okay to walk away from people who only take and never give. It's okay to stop being kind to those who repeatedly disrespect your boundaries. And it's more than okay to say no when being kind comes at the cost of your well-being. By withholding kindness from people who abuse it, you send a clear message: I value myself. You teach others how to treat you. And more importantly, you protect your emotional and mental health. You can be kind without being a doormat. Many people confuse kindness with people-pleasing, but they are not the same thing. Being kind does not mean you have to be available to everyone. It does not mean sacrificing your needs to accommodate others. And it certainly does not mean tolerating disrespect to avoid conflict. True kindness requires boundaries. It means knowing when to give and when to hold back. It means understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And most importantly, it means recognizing that kindness is a privilege, not a right that others must earn through their actions and respect. How to choose kindness wisely. Evaluate the relationship. Ask yourself whether the person consistently respects and values you. If they do, your kindness will strengthen the bond. Protect your peace. Not everyone belongs in your life. Your peace is priceless. It's the foundation of your emotional well-being, mental clarity, and overall happiness. Yet, too often, we allow people into our lives who disturb that peace. People who drain our energy, disrespect our kindness, and take far more than they ever give. If you want to live a life filled with joy, purpose, and fulfillment, you must learn a critical truth. Not everyone belongs in your life. Letting go of people is not easy, especially when those people have been part of your journey, friends you've known for years, family members who expect your loyalty, or colleagues who blur the line between work and friendship. But keeping people around simply because of history or obligation comes at a cost, your peace, and nothing is worth sacrificing that. The emotional toll of keeping the wrong people around. Every relationship you maintain requires energy, mental, emotional, and even physical. When that energy is invested in people who genuinely care for you, the return is beautiful: laughter, support, love, and shared growth. But when you invest in the wrong people, that energy is drained, leaving you feeling depleted, frustrated, and undervalued. Think about the people in your life right now. Do they leave you feeling energized or exhausted? Are they pouring into your life, or are they only present when they need something from you? Are they supportive of your goals and dreams, or do they belittle your ambitions and stir up self-doubt? When you surround yourself with people who drain your energy, you pay a price. Emotional exhaustion, constant negativity or drama can wear you down and leave you emotionally depleted. Mental chaos, toxic relationships create mental clutter, making it harder to focus on your goals and priorities. Self-doubt, people who criticize or undermine you can shake your confidence and cause you to question your worth. Loss of time. Every moment spent on the wrong people is time taken away from those who truly deserve you. You have a limited amount of time and energy. Why waste it on people who don't respect or value you? You teach people how to treat you. When you tolerate disrespect or one-sided relationships, you send a message: I accept this behavior. People will treat you based on what you allow. If you're always available to people who drain you, they'll keep coming back. If you continue to show kindness to those who disrespect you, they will assume your kindness is endless. But when you set boundaries and remove toxic people, you send a new message. My peace is non-negotiable. You teach others that your time, energy, and kindness are precious, and if they cannot respect that, they don't deserve a place in your life. It's okay to outgrow people. One of the hardest lessons to accept is that not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. People change. You change. And as you grow, you will naturally outgrow certain relationships. What once felt comfortable may now feel limiting. What once brought you joy may now cause you pain. This doesn't mean those relationships were meaningless. It means they served a purpose for a season. And when that season is over, it's okay to move on. Holding on to people who no longer align with your growth only holds you back. Ask yourself, is this relationship adding value to my life, or is it taking away from it? Am I growing, or am I shrinking to make this relationship work? Do I feel loved, respected, and supported, or do I feel drained, disrespected, and unappreciated? If the answer reveals that a relationship is holding you back, it may be time to let go. How to protect your peace and let go. Letting go doesn't mean you have to burn bridges or be unkind. It means choosing yourself, your peace, and your emotional well-being over relationships that no longer serve you. Here's how to start. 1, identify energy drainers. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with someone. Do they inspire you or drain you? Do they support your growth or do they keep you stuck? Be honest with yourself about who adds to your life and who takes away from it. 2, set firm boundaries. Protecting your peace requires clear and firm boundaries. Let people know what you will and won't tolerate. And don't just set those boundaries, enforce them. If someone repeatedly crosses a line, it may be time to distance yourself. 3, release the guilt. Many people hold on to toxic relationships out of guilt. They fear being seen as selfish or disloyal. But choosing to protect your peace is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot thrive in environments that drain you. 4, distance yourself gracefully. Not every goodbye needs to be dramatic. Sometimes the best way to protect your peace is to quietly distance yourself. Respond less, engage less, and gradually shift your focus toward relationships that uplift you. 5, surround yourself with the right people. As you let go of the wrong people, make room for those who uplift, inspire, and empower you. Build a circle of people who celebrate your success, encourage your growth, and respect your boundaries. These are the people who deserve a front row seat in your life. 6, prioritize inner peace. Your peace is sacred. Protect it fiercely. Spend time in environments that nourish your soul. Engage in activities that bring you joy, and most importantly, only allow people into your life who bring peace, not chaos. The power of letting go. When you release people who disrupt your peace, you create space for better relationships. Relationships rooted in mutual love, respect, and support. You free yourself from the emotional weight of toxicity and open the door to genuine connection. Letting go is not about being cold-hearted. It's about being wise. It's about knowing that you deserve relationships that nourish you, not ones that drain you. It's about understanding that you are worthy of peace, and anyone who disrupts that peace does not belong in your life. So protect your peace, because when you do, you reclaim your power, your joy, and your freedom, and the people who truly love and respect you will always honor that choice.